Okay, so welcome back everybody to our daily Gita classes. Today we are going to be speaking from chapter number 2, entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized, and we're going to be speaking on verse number 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Chapter 2, text number 3. Klevyam Mahasma Gamaha Partha Na Etat Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Takta Utishta Param Tapaha Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa
Klevyam Asmagama Partha
Klevyam Asmagama Partha
Naitatvai Upapadyate
Naita Tvai Upapadyate
Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam
Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam
Tyaktva Parantapa
Tvakto Utishta Parantapa
Klevyam Asmagama Partha
Klevyam Asmagama Partha
Naitat Kavya Upadpadyate
Naita Tvai Upapadyate
Shudram Hridaya Daurbalam Palyam
Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam
Bhaktavotishta Parantrapa
Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Asmagama Partha Naita Tvai Upapadyate Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam Tvakto Utishta Parantapa Klevyam Importance Masma Do not Gamaha Take two Partha O son of Pritha Na Never Etat This Tvai unto you Upapadyate is befitting Shudram petty Hridaya of the heart Dorbalyam weakness Tvaktva giving up Uttishta get up. Param tapaha, or chastiser of the enemies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Please repeat after me. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Purport: Arjuna was addressed as a son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said, as such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Klavyam Asma Gama Partha Naita Tvai Papadyate Shudram Ritaya Durbalyam Tvakto Tishta Parantapa. Alright, so this verse is a continuation of what Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. He started speaking in 2.2 and he now continues his refutation of Arjuna's so-called reasons not to fight in 2.3. So he speaks these two verses. So what does he say in 2.2? Let's do a bit of a recap. So he says that Krishna, instead of agreeing with Arjuna's assessment, he chastises him by exposing Arjuna's reasons for not fighting as being impurities. In the last verse, it says the word kashmalam. Kashmalam means dirtiness or impurities. So he is saying that all these actually impurities, these are not very nice reasons. All these noble reasons you have given, they are actually impurities. So Krishna actually addressed Arjuna as being as an Aryan. So he is not being considered an Aryan, because an Aryan is a person who knows the purpose of life. And so inherent in this understanding is that a person who is supposed to be called an Aryan is a person who understands spiritual culture, understands the purpose of life is self-realization. That is a person who is called an Aryan. If you are not understanding that point, you cannot be considered yourself to be an Aryan. So because of this, Arjuna is entertaining these impure thoughts, that one, that I don't want to fight. And Krishna is exposing that if you entertain such thoughts, what is going to happen to you? One is that you will not get to go to the heavenly planets because you are not understanding the duty of Kshatriya, Dharma, and worse off is that is after death. But in this life itself, you will become infamous. You will be derided by people. So Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that the path that you want to go down, which is of not fighting, it is completely the wrong option. Okay? So let us try to understand what is this word that Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna. What is this impurity? Now this impurity in this sense refers to confusion about what is the right thing to do. Just like there is water and soil, when they mix, all of it combines and the whole solution becomes dirty. Similarly, when the dirt of our material conception of life mixes with the water of our consciousness, our entire vision of life becomes muddy. It becomes muddy. So Arjuna is wallowing in material conception of life, and because of this, he can't see the consequences of not fighting, only for the sake of saving his relatives. And Krishna is exposing all those consequences that Arjuna has overlooked. He said that if you do not fight, one is that you are a Kshatriya, that is your role in society. And Kshatriyas are kings, they are rulers, and people will follow the leaders of society. So if you do not fight, then you set a bad example, and other people will shirk from doing their duties even when it is painful for them to do it. And they will start saying and justifying it that because Arjuna did not fight at this critical moment of the battle, he sets an example for us to follow. And what is more worse, for evil to flourish is when good people say nothing. So Arjuna is going to set a bad example if he doesn't fight. Second, he will be mocked, and this mockery for an honorable person, it is said that dishonor is worse than death for an honorable person. So the dishonor that he will get from not fighting, that will become very, very painful for Arjuna to withstand, to bear. He will think that it's better to die than to withstand all this insults and mockery. And third is that Krishna says that this is not a normal war. This is not a war for getting a kingdom, or this is not a war for trying to get more power. No, this is a religious war. And for a religious war, Kshatriyas are looking forward to opportunities for such warfare, because even if they die in such warfare, the gates of heaven open up to them. So he is trying to show that no, it's not a lose-lose situation, it's a win-win situation. Whatever the outcome, if you fight, it's going to be a win-win situation. So now one might ask is, why is Krishna being so heavy? Why is he being so heavy to Arjuna right now? It's because Krishna's mood in speaking these two verses in 2.2 and 2.3 is because Arjuna has not yet surrendered himself to Krishna. He is taking Krishna to still be his friend. So Krishna is reciprocating with that. He is talking to him in a friendly tone. He is joking with him. And even in joking between friends, there is also chastisement. So Krishna is also chastising Arjuna by thinking like, how are you speaking the words that are coming out of your mouth? I do not believe that you have it in you to even think of such things. I could have never thought that you, being such a celebrated Kshatriya, could entertain such thoughts that are not befitting a Kshatriya. So he was very surprised as well. So in his surprisement, he is chastising as well, and he is joking with Arjuna. And now we go to an extended version of Krishna's retribution in 2.3. So he says the word klebium. Now klebium is a very heavy word. Klebium, as Prabhupada has translated it as being impotence. Now, impotence is a very harsh word for a Kshatriya, because Kshatriyas are the physical representation of masculinity and of virility. Now, so somebody who is of a Kshatriya class to be called impotent, that is like a verbal slap on that person's face. So, Krishna doesn't actually call Arjuna impotent, if you understand it. He is saying that do not yield to this degrading impotence. He is not actually calling Arjuna impotent, but what is he saying is that your thoughts are so degraded that they are like a person who is impotent. And then he gives the comparison as to what it is. So Krishna advises Arjuna that he should not succumb to it. That means it should not be allowed to take over, right? So this quality of impotence, this thinking, the flow of thought that you are entertaining right now should not become so great that it overrides your decision making ability. Also, he is joking here, because if you remember in the Mahabharata that during the incognito exile, Arjuna and all the 5 Pandavas had to hide in plain sight. They had to spend 1 year of exile while hiding, and no one thought that this is possible, because how can you hide? How can such 5 great personalities along with Draupadi, how could they hide in plain sight? And so they took refuge in the kingdom of Virat, and Arjuna had gotten a curse from an Apsara when during the exile, before the Agyatwas, there were 12 years. 12 years of exile in the forest. During those 12 years, Arjuna went through many penances, and he went to many travels trying to get equipped with so many divine celestial weapons for the upcoming war, because they knew that war is going to happen. So, as part of Arjuna's journey in these 12 years, he actually goes to heaven. And when he goes to heaven, now in heaven there are so many beautiful Apsaras, and the prime Apsara there is by the name of Urvashi. Now Arjuna looked at her and smiled, and Urvashi thought, and actually King Indra saw that Arjuna was smiling at Urvashi. So he had sent Urvashi to Arjuna for him to enjoy. But Arjuna was smiling because thinking that Indra is my father and Urvashi is his consort, so she is as good as my mother. So in his mind he was giving mental obeisances towards Urvashi. And so when Urvashi came expecting to be enjoyed by Arjuna, and then Arjuna revealed his mind, she got offended, because in the heavenly planets all these sort of things doesn't work. The guidelines are a bit different of society there. So she got offended and she cursed Arjuna that what type of man are you that you cannot enjoy a woman? I curse you to become an impotent person. And so Arjuna was like, what am I supposed to do now? So then Indra said, okay, I can reduce the curse to instead of being until the end of life, just to 1 year. And so Arjuna had to get this curse, had to live this curse. And when Krishna told the 5 Pandavas where to go to hide, he also told Arjuna, this is the perfect time for you to utilize that curse. If you just become a eunuch for this 1 year, you will be able to hide in plain sight. And so Arjuna became known as Prinala, who was a dance teacher of Uttara. Yeah. Now, so this 1 year was so difficult for Arjuna to manage, because he is a Kshatriya and now he has to live 1 year as a eunuch. And now Krishna is joking with Arjuna. It's like, just because you have spent 1 year as being as a eunuch, Have you now forgotten how to do your Kshatriya duty? Are you permanently become a eunuch? This is the thought process, and this is joking conversation that Krishna is trying to bring out here by the word of by the use of the word klebium. That just because you are eunuch for 1 year, have you taken that curse to be lifetime? It was just supposed to be for 1 year. How can you take it for being a lifetime thing? So this is also another joking conversation that Krishna has with Arjuna here. Then he says, Naitat tvai upapadyate. So Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, he is supposed to be very strong. There should be no weakness in him. Weakness is not a character trait in Kshatriyas. So Krishna is urging Arjuna to not let the weakness overcome him at this critical point in time, because you are just about to fight the war. You need to be at your best. You think about it in a cricket match. All the star players, when they come to play on the cricket field, of course they'll be nervous, but they cannot show that nervousness. They have to be excited. This is what they have been training for their entire lives, to play in such crunch moments. So for Arjuna, this is his crunch moment. All his life he has proved himself to be a supreme archer, a person without no comparison, and now he is risking it all on the greatest stage, on the greatest fight. How can you do that? Krishna is trying to say, how can you show these weaknesses at this critical moment? But what weakness are we talking about? It's not he's got physical weakness. It is said, Shudram Hridaya Dorbalyam. Hridaya Dorbalyam. So this is weakness of the heart. And this weakness of the heart is of course, as we said, Kshatriyas don't have weaknesses. So then who is it the one that has weakness? It's the Shudram. It is the Shudram quality of people, not the caste. Because as we find out in the Gita, it is not a caste based direction of insult. It's more like a qualitative understanding. What Krishna is trying to say is that you are displaying the quality of a Shudra. And what is the quality of Shudra? Is that they always lament unnecessarily. As I said, in the Gita there is many definitions of what each of the Varna's qualities are. So for a Brahmin, it says that Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. The person who knows the absolute truth is supposed to be known as a Brahmana. So similarly, what is the definition of a Shudra? The definition of a Shudra is Sochati iti Shudraha. Sochati means lamentation. So when a Shudra is faced with difficulties or an adversity in his life, they give in to lamentation and cannot think of any constructive solution. So this Hridaya Dorbalyam, this weakness of heart, is a characteristic of Shudra, because a Brahmana, if he is overcome with weakness or adversity, he doesn't lament. He utilizes his scriptural intelligence to deal with it. Similarly, a Kshatriya will use power and to deal with it. A Vaishya will use money to try to solve everything. But a Shudra has nothing. He is helpless. He just keeps on lamenting unnecessarily. So this weakness that Krishna is talking here is weakness of the heart. So what does weakness of the heart actually mean? It means the inability to deal with a strong emotional shock. Yes? When you have weakness of heart, it means that your decision making is influenced by what feels painless instead of what is my duty and what is the right thing to do. So when we focus more on duty, focusing on duty is what honorable people do. They focus and act according to what is right and avoid what is not right, instead of thinking what is going to be painful for me or what is not going to be painful for me. For example, if there is a mother has just given birth to a child. She is in so much pain and the baby needs constant attention. Yet she is willing to sacrifice her sleep to keep on feeding the baby every couple of hours, no matter how much it pains her, how much discomfort she is in, but she is willing to do everything possible to feed the baby and make sure that the baby is alright. So she is focusing on her duty more than whether it is causing her pain or not pain. And in that she finds a sense of pride and achievement. She finds happiness in doing her duty, right? And now we go to the last line, Tvaktva Udashtita Parantapa. And also the first line, like it says, Masma Gama Partha. So if you understand this word, Masma Gama Partha, what Krishna is trying to say here to Arjuna is, do not succumb to it. So what does it mean? It means that this weakness of heart is just come out of nowhere. Yeah, at one moment he was already blowing his conch shell, ready to fight, and at the next moment he is all over bewildered, giving so many reasons, and then at the end of chapter 1, what happens? He sits down on the chariot and his bow is put aside. So this has literally happened within a few seconds and a few minutes. And so this shows like this enemy has come from within, but it's just come up such a big in front of Arjuna that he cannot deal with it. So enemies like lust, anger, greed and fear, they suddenly arise within us, but it feels like an external enemy is coming up in front of us right now. So when Krishna says do not succumb to it, what does Krishna mean? He says that when you succumb, it means you're allowing these enemies to gain control over us. But these enemies, they cannot gain control over us unless we hold on to them. That is, if we start identifying with these negative emotions, only then will we get affected. If you feel anger rising in you, but if you do not act with it, you do not identify with it, you increase the time between feeling the anger rise and actually reacting to it. Then these inner demons or inner weaknesses do not attack you, they do not overpower you. So this is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna. Arjuna, this fear has overcome you. This fear that is created by this material conception of life has overcome you. Do not let it overcome you. Be strong. Yes, be strong. And then he says that give it up. Tvakta, give it up. So Krishna is saying that actually the inner impurities are taking control of Arjuna. Therefore he is urging Arjuna to give them up. And he is saying this in two ways, the literal sense, to give it up, and in the metaphorical sense, to give it up and fight in spirit, and to literally to get up from your seat again, take up the bow and start fighting. So in two ways he is saying give it up. Give up your weakness of heart and fight, and give up your weakness of heart and be situated in your duty. But now the problem comes here, is that even after Krishna has spoken these two verses, 2.2 and 2.3, Arjuna is still not satisfied. Arjuna does not know, because Krishna is only said in these two verses that you are forgetting your Kshatriya duty, get back to doing it. Get back to doing it. But Arjuna's bewilderment is gone much further away. Now surface level talks, small pep talks, if we call it in modern slang, is like Krishna is telling Arjuna, be a man, do the right thing. But he is not understanding this, because this pep talk is not working for him right now, because he's even forgotten what is the right thing to do. He just doesn't know what is dharma. So it's a very, very fundamental problem that Arjuna is facing. And so now Krishna knows this, but he is waiting for one thing. He is waiting for Arjuna to surrender to him before he starts speaking the philosophy. And this is also a very interesting practical point that we can take from Krishna, that you only give advice when another person is asking for it. If a person is not asking for it, even if you got the best advice, it is falling on deaf ears. It will not make any change. So this is what we can also practically take from the Gita, that Krishna is teaching us the art of giving advice as well. And so Arjuna will ask in 2.7 what is actually duty and what is the right thing to do, and after that point he takes Krishna to be his spiritual master and wants to once and for all get to understand the right course of action. And actually, if you think about this verse, Krishna is actually very, very kind. He is all the time with us. If we just think of ourselves as being Arjuna, he is trying to say that we also are always battling with these inner impurities that are being born from a material conception of life, and he is urging us to give them up, and to take shelter of him. Become Aryans, become people of spiritual culture or spiritual civilization. Understand that the goal of life is to understand and realize yourself as being an eternal part and parcel of the Lord, engaged in loving devotional service. So these two verses, Krishna is also speaking to us, saying that we are stuck in this material conception of life. Give it up and come to spiritual life. But we are also in that same category. We are all Shudras. Yes, in Kali Yuga, no one is anything else but a Shudra, and that is why we lament unnecessarily, like Arjuna is lamenting at this moment. And we do not know what is the right thing to do. We do not know what is the actual dharma for us. And so, at this critical moment, that in our life, and at the same time in the flow of the Gita, is if we do not now follow the footsteps of Arjuna and go and surrender ourselves to Krishna or his representative, then we will be stuck in this cycle of keeping on getting bewildered, of trying to make ourselves free of lamentation, but we'll always find ourselves back at square one. We'll always come back to that one last point, that we are going to be frustrated with everything, because whatever we try to do in life to remove the lamentation, it doesn't work, and we always put back into this state of frustration. So this is a critical juncture in the Gita. So now the question that we have to ask ourselves is, right now, Arjuna has been representing all of us. All our dilemmas have been represented by Arjuna. Now the question is, are we going to follow Arjuna? Are we going to now surrender ourselves to Krishna or his representative who knows Krishna's words inside out and help us, just like how Krishna helped Arjuna overcome himself from this illusion and situated him with perfect knowledge, perfect understanding about the purpose of life? Are we also ready to be followers of Arjuna in this regard? So this is where we will stop here. So again, we will see Arjuna will, in the next few verses, he will try to put one last counter argument before he realizes that it's pointless. I need to now surrender to Krishna. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Okay, Shrimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.